Camera drone. Start with the one almost everyone has seen. 4 arms, 4 propellers, a camera hanging underneath, and the strange thing is that this design is barely 30 years old as a consumer object, because until recently it was impossible. A quadcopter has no swash plate, no tail rotor, no mechanical linkages at all. It steers purely by changing how fast each propeller spins, thousands of times a second, and no human could ever manage that by hand. What made it possible were the sensors inside your phone, cheap gyroscopes and accelerometers, mass-produced by the million, that tell a small computer exactly which way the aircraft is tipping. The flight controller does the rest, which means this machine isn't really an aircraft with a computer added, it's a computer that happens to fly. And that's the pattern for everything else in this video. Once the pilot no longer has to sit inside, the aircraft stops being built around a person and starts being built around the job. Agricultural spraying drone. Now take that same idea and hand it a task nobody wants. Spraying a field means flying low, slowly, back and forth, in exactly straight lines all day. And doing it in a crop duster is one of the most dangerous flying jobs there is, because the pilot spends the entire time meters above the ground. So the agricultural drone removes the person and immediately gets much bigger. It carries a tank of liquid on its back, sometimes tens of liters, with nozzles under each rotor using the downwash to push the spray into the crop rather than letting it drift away. But the tank creates a problem no ordinary drone has. The aircraft gets dramatically lighter as it flies, so the flight controller has to constantly rebalance a machine whose own weight is changing beneath it. And when the tank empties, it doesn't land and wait. It flies home, swaps a battery, and refills in under a minute, and goes straight back to the exact spot it left off. Delivery drone. Here's a compromise you can see just by looking at it. A quadcopter can hover beautifully, but is terribly inefficient in forward flight, because its propellers are doing all the lifting the whole way. A fixed-wing aircraft is the opposite. Enormously efficient over distance, but it can't stop. Delivery needs both. You have to cross distance, then hold still over someone's garden. So many delivery drones are hybrids, with rotors for lifting off and a wing that takes over once they're moving. Exactly the same argument a tilt rotor aircraft is having, at a fraction of the size. And in some places, this stopped being a novelty years ago. In parts of Africa, drones deliver blood and medical supplies to remote clinics, dropping packages by parachute without ever landing, because the roads that would take hours simply aren't there. Window cleaning drone. Now one that sounds like a joke until you see the numbers. Cleaning the glass on a skyscraper means putting people on a suspended cradle hundreds of meters up on a rig that takes hours to set up and stops entirely when the wind picks up. So somebody asked whether a drone could do it, and immediately hit a problem. Everything about a drone is designed to hover in open air, away from surfaces. This one has to work pressed right up against a wall, in the turbulent wind that swirls around tall buildings, while carrying a hose full of water. So it's built heavier and stiffer than a camera drone, often tethered to a ground unit that feeds it both water and power, so it never has to stop for a battery. It uses sensors to hold a precise distance from the glass, rushing and spraying its way across a facade that would otherwise need a crew and a week of scaffolding. Firefighting drone. Fire is the opposite of everything a drone likes. Hot air rises violently, which throws an aircraft around. Smoke blinds cameras, and heat is brutal on batteries and electronics. But a fire is also exactly where you don't want a person. So firefighting drones come in 2 very different forms. The small ones fly above a burning building carrying thermal cameras, seeing straight through smoke to show commanders where the fire is actually spreading and whether anyone is trapped. Information that used to require sending someone inside to find out. The large ones do the opposite. They're tethered to the ground, fed water and power through a heavy line, and hover beside a high-rise window that no ladder truck can reach, spraying directly into a floor 40 stories up. One flies to see, the other flies to fight. Neither needs anyone in the smoke. Inspection drone. Some structures are almost impossible to look at. The underside of a bridge, the inside of a chimney, a wind turbine blade 80 meters in the air, a power line crossing a valley. Traditionally, checking any of them meant rope teams, scaffolding, helicopters, or shutting the whole thing down. An inspection drone just flies up and looks. But the interesting engineering is what it does with what it sees. It flies a pre-programmed path, photographing the same structure the same way every time. So software can compare this year's images against last year's and find a crack that grew by a few millimeters. Some carry thermal cameras to spot an overheating electrical joint before it fails. Others fly right inside enclosed spaces, tanks, boilers, sewers, protected by a spherical cage so they can bounce off walls in places with no GPS signal at all. It's not really about the flying. It's about being able to look at the same thing, precisely, forever. Underwater drone. And now one that never flies at all, because the same logic works just as well downward. An underwater drone faces a problem no aircraft does. Radio waves barely travel through water, so you cannot simply fly it by remote control from a distance. That's why most working ones are tethered, connected to the surface by a cable carrying power, commands, and video. A physical umbilical, because wireless is off the table. The rest of the design is dominated by pressure, which climbs by roughly 1 atmosphere every 10 meters. So the housings holding cameras and electronics have to be built like small submarines. And instead of fighting gravity like every other machine here, it's trimmed to be almost neutrally buoyant, so its thrusters only have to move it, not hold it up. They inspect ship holes, repair pipelines, and work at depths where the pressure would kill a diver instantly, for exactly the same reason as everything else in this video. Heavy lift cargo drone. Now scale up and the physics gets hostile. Lifting more means bigger propellers and bigger batteries, but batteries are heavy, so a larger drone has to carry more battery just to lift its own battery. That's the wall that limits every electric multicopter. So heavy lift cargo drones fight it in two ways. Many of them burn fuel instead, using a combustion engine or a hybrid setup with a far better energy to weight ratio. And many of them look less like a quadcopter and more like a small aircraft or an uncrewed helicopter, because a wing or a single large rotor lifts far more efficiently than 4 small propellers. Some are converted from crewed aircraft outright, the cockpit stripped out and replaced with cargo space. They deliver to islands, oil rigs, mountain sites, and disaster zones. And the trade is straightforward. No pilot on board means no life support, no pressurization, and no reason the flight has to be survivable. Passenger eVTOL, which makes this one the strangest entry on the list, because here, the human comes back. An air taxi is essentially a giant multicopter with seats, and the moment you put someone inside, every rule changes. A camera drone that fails just falls. This can't. So an eVTOL is built with far more rotors than it strictly needs, sometimes a dozen or more, specifically so that losing 1 or 2 doesn't end the flight. The flight computer simply redistributes power to the rest and keeps flying. It carries multiple independent batteries, redundant computers, and often a whole aircraft parachute. Many use tilting rotors or separate lift and cruise propellers to escape the same hover versus distance compromise the delivery drone had. And notice what's still missing at the front. Even with passengers aboard, there's no cockpit. The person inside isn't flying. They're cargo that can talk. Ingenuity, the Mars helicopter. And now the machine that proves the whole point. Mars has an atmosphere less than 1% as dense as Earth's, so thin that a normal helicopter's blades would find almost nothing to push against. So engineers built something absurd, a craft weighing about 1.8 kilograms with 2 rotors stacked on top of each other, spinning at around 2,500 revolutions per minute, roughly 5 times faster than a helicopter here. It ran on commercial mobile phone processors, and it could not be flown from Earth at all. The radio delay is minutes each way, so every single flight had to be uploaded in advance and executed entirely by the aircraft itself, alone, with nobody watching in real time. It was designed for 5 test flights over 30 days. It flew 72, over nearly 3 years, scouting terrain for the rover that carried it there. It ended in January 2024, on ground so smooth and featureless that its navigation camera lost track of the surface, and a hard landing damaged its blades. The team named the spot Valinor Hills. The first aircraft ever to fly on another world was one that no human could have been inside, and that was never a limitation. It was the entire reason it could go. Look back at all 10. A computer that happens to fly. One that gets lighter as it works. One with a wing and rotors arguing with each other. One pressed against a skyscraper. One hovering beside a burning window. One photographing the same crack every year. One that swims. One that burns fuel because batteries are too heavy. One built so a passenger can survive it. And one on Mars. The important thing about a drone was never that nobody's steering it. It's what an aircraft is allowed to become once nobody has to be inside. No cockpit, no seat, no air, no need for the flight to be survivable at all. Take the person out, and the machine stops being shaped around them and starts being shaped around the job.